Hey everybody, Runner here, and 3.26 is almost there. So in this video, I wanted to recommend a set of great starters that you can try for Secrets of the Atlas League Start. I'm going to talk a little and explain why, in my opinion, some of those builds are going to be great while League starting them. Let's go. And first one is Smite Slayer. I honestly believe that Smite right now is in a very good position. It's been pretty strong before and a lot of people played that, but after other good skills been nerfed, right now Smite is going to finally properly shine. There's like option to play normal Smite and Smite of Divine Judgment, both of them are being pretty viable. So I could definitely recommend to check out my Smite Slayer guide. It's going to be very tanky in the endgame and reaching pretty decent damage. You can also play your whole set of Smite skills just during the whole campaign if you like it. So if you hate just changing your skills in the process, I think it could be a great option for you too. But generally, Smite can hit your enemies twice. Smite has pretty good AoE and could be very comfortable both while leveling and later on when you will be able to reach the endgame. So right now I'm absolutely sure that build is going to be very strong. And combined with Slayer, which is in my opinion is still very good ascendancy, it's going to be even better. In the future you'll also be able to change the build to the champion and do like an armor stacker if you like. So right now Smite is definitely in the perfect position. And the next skill that I can definitely recommend is Poison Concoction of Bouncing. And in that version is going to be played with Pathfinder, the skill in short called Picong, and right now it's one of the most comfortable experience to level with. I honestly believe that Picong leveling in the current situation is probably one of the best, if not the best, because it can provide a lot of AoE and a lot of damage on a very low budget without even needing a weapon, which is making it very comfortable. You don't need to search for a weapon, you can just run anything with an empty head, and it's going to work just beautifully. I also think that Picong can easily just move to the proper endgame. You can play it like approximately from level 12, and right now it can scale up to the endgame. Your character is going to be tankier, especially if you're going to play Pathfinder. You can utilize like different defenses such as Dawnbreaker or Lightning Coil, making that version very viable for at least finishing like all your Atlas and reaching up to tier 17s. It could be harder to scale it to pinnacle bosses, but even that is possible on higher budget. So Picong right now, in my opinion, is in a very good position and I can definitely recommend to try it out, at least as a leveling experience if you want to change your build later. And another great skill that will be very good in the current meta is BAMA, so Bombardic and Mirror Arrow. It can be played with both Guardian and Necromancer, and the skill itself is amazingly strong, especially on a budget. It's also very comfortable and safe to play, because you can just send your minions forward and you could just wait from like particular safe distance until they will kill all the enemies. It's also bossing pretty good, and if the clear speed is not amazingly fast, it's still much faster than a few other counterparts. And you can play BAMA just like from the middle of the campaign, and you can scale it without even a lot of budget by just running like some basic uniques and some basic rares. I did a BAMA guide for Necromancer myself, and there are like a few other Guardian versions out there too, if you're into this. I honestly believe that BAMA right now is going to be one of the best options for minions and a very strong build, especially for League Start. And another great skill which is coming back is Cyclone. Cyclone done even kinda alright before, but right now it could be even better to play with. You can run like Cyclone of Temod with Shockwave for example, or maybe even an Elemental Cyclone. So the one that I can recommend for the League Start is just like Physical Cyclone of Temod together with a Shockwave, and right now it can utilize a lot of techniques to feel very good both while leveling and in the endgame. You can run a Slayer for pretty good bonuses, you can get decent damage by utilizing like Staff and Abyssus Broganet, and you can swap to Cyclone approximately like around level 30 after you played a little with Sunder, so it's going to be very relaxed experience. And you will just need to get like some gems from library for it. I honestly believe that it's cool that Cyclone is coming back because it's been crazy relaxed gameplay, and I'm absolutely sure that some people will love it because it's feeling just chill when you're rolling through maps. And another skill that, in my opinion, is going to perform amazingly good is Volcanic Fissure of Snaking. That skill has a very good clear and you will be able to just like run forward. It's also pretty easy to ramp up the damage, and some version of it could be pretty tanky as well. The only issue with the skill that it could feel a little clunky for some people, but for me it's feeling absolutely fine. So I believe Volcanic is going to pick a very big part of the meta. Faceplays had like an amazingly detailed guide for it here, and I can definitely recommend it, but there have been a few others that kinda good as well. That way Volcanic is going to be a very good option to both league start with and scale it further up until the later endgame. And the next build is Create Icicle Mine of Painting Deadeye. And I honestly believe that Deadeye with Icicle Mines is a very good setup right now. I did that build as just like a 15 Divines Uber Bosser in the previous league, but I honestly believe the skill could be easily scaled to be played just like in the normal gameplay itself. It can currently have a very good clear because mines are literally flying everywhere, and it's also pretty comfortable to play because it can practically just off-screen the enemies. Since it's mostly cold based, it's also going to utilize Heat Shiver, which in my opinion is just one of the best uniques that we currently have in the game for a budget. And the build version that I'm showcasing right here is going to use Bitter Dream, Shadow Scepter. That's a very nice idea, especially early on if you can get it, because you can just utilize it with all the cold damage. So even if the build itself is not really tanky, it could be considered ZHP by some people. I think if you know what you are doing and you are alright with just off-screening everything, it could be a pretty good option for you if you like glass cannons. So check that one out. And the next skill that I want to talk about is Explosive Trap. Explosive Trap right now is one of the best skills that can farm bosses on a budget. So if you're really interested in the build that will be able to just like farm bosses in a row and make profit from it, I think Explosive Trap is the best option here. And Fearless Dumbo had like a very in-depth guide for how to set Explosive Trap Trickster for like bossing, and I think even in maps the build could be kinda playable, so it's not completely horrible or anything, but at bosses it truly shines. I also believe that since most of the players are going to play like other types of builds, items for traps are going to be less expensive, so if you really worry about like falling behind or inflation going too high, I think going traps could be a very good idea right here. And Explosive is one of the most classical options for it, so I can definitely recommend to check it. And since we are talking about traps and mines in that section, I think it's pretty cool that we can mention Exsanguinate and Reap Mine. I think mines together with like Exsanguinate for clear and Reap for single target is a very decent option right now. It mostly played at Trickster, so it's going to have a pretty decent survivability as well. And that skill is more of like all-rounder. You can play like Exsanguinate to clear all the enemies, and you can also play like Reap for single target and for clear as well, because Reap could be pretty comfortable for it. You can also utilize a pretty big damage boost like from Reap, and since it's Trickster, it's not going to be that squishy. Most of those builds with like Reap Mines are pretty much using cold damage again, so there will be like additional layer of defense when you're casting, and you also will be able to utilize a Heat Shiver, which will definitely boost your damage further. And I think there have been like a few versions like that around, but I can definitely recommend one from Aeroplane Gaming because that one is very detailed, and if you want to play mines, you definitely should give it a chance. But what if you want to play like slam skills, but don't really want to go to Voltaic, Fissure of Snaking, because the skill itself could be a little too expensive in terms of the gear, so you want to find like a middle ground here. I think for that case, Sunder is just like a very good idea. Jorgen did like a pretty nice guide for Sunder Chieftain. It's relatively tanky, especially in the endgame version. It can still utilize some cool items such as Echoes of Creation, or for example Defiance of Destiny, which is definitely going to make your running experience and surviving much better. And you can also use just a Sunder as a main skill because it's always had a very comfortable clear and it can do a pretty decent damage both on a budget and in the proper endgame. And Chieftain is just amazing for scaling defenses. I think you can push it even further if you want to run harder content, but even such versions are looking very good, and Thunder could be very good for leveling and progressing into in-game right after. And the last build that I would definitely recommend is Summon Holy Relic of Concoction Necromancer. That way you can just play with Summon Holy Relic, it's just like a little tiny sphere that's going to follow you and hit the enemies. It's pretty strong on almost all level of investment. It also could be considered decently tanky, and you will be able to clear all content with it. The build itself is very comfortable. Probably the only downside right here is that you will need some time to set everything up, because you will need Lancing Steel, you will need Summon Holy Relic itself, there's a lot of interaction. But I think Beller Mage did a very good job by explaining that build and supporting it through different leaks. So I should definitely recommend checking it out, because that's one of the most prominent minions builds, because, well, Holy Relic could be considered minions, right after BAMA, and it's definitely worth the attention. Especially since it can also be pretty fast and good against just running basic maps and high tier, tier 17s for example. So that's been my set of good starters for Path of Exile 3.26 Secret of the Atlas. I think most of them are going to be pretty comfortable, and you will definitely have a good time if you will follow them. Myself, I'm going to play a Smite Slayer, as I already showcased, and I will do proper updates for it as well. So if you want to see builds that will be well supported with updates, feel free to check that one out. Thank you very much for watching as usual, and Ron Ray out. Have an amazing league start, guys.